Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're putting your knowledge to the test with the ultimate study quiz on two super important topics, peer pressure and peacemaking. Ready to see what you know?
All right, super students, welcome. Here's how it's going to work. I'll read a question out loud, you take a moment to think of the answer, and then we'll go through it together. Super simple, right? Let's dive in.
Okay, let's kick things off with round one, understanding peer pressure. Now, this is a phrase we hear all the time, right? But what does it really mean? Let's find out. All right, first question's up. What is the actual definition of peer pressure? Take a second to think about it. And the answer is, it's the influence your friends or peer group have on you to act like them or think like them. So it's not always someone telling you what to do. A lot of the time, it's that unspoken feeling that you need to fit in to be part of the group. Okay, next question. Did you know peer pressure comes in different flavors? So what's the difference between direct and indirect peer pressure? This is a really important one. So let's break this down. Direct pressure is super obvious. It's when someone literally says, hey, you should do this. But indirect pressure, that's way sneakier. It's when you just feel like you have to do something to fit in, even if nobody says a word. You see what everyone else is doing, and you feel like you have to do it too. And you know, that indirect kind can be even tougher to deal with because it feels like the idea is coming from you. So why does this even matter? Well, this kind of pressure doesn't just change what you wear or what music you listen to. It can actually affect some really big parts of who you are. So for question 3, can you name 3 things about you that peer pressure can influence? Here they are: your self-image, your decision-making, and your personal values. And think about it. They're all connected, right? If your self-image starts to change because of pressure, it might affect the choices you make. And if you keep making choices that don't feel right, that can start to mess with your core values. It's like a chain reaction, so it's super important to spot it early. All right, round 2. We've talked about what peer pressure is, but now for the most important part. How do you handle it? Let's get into the practical skills. Question 4. To stand strong against peer pressure, you need some skills in your toolkit. Can you name 5 skills that can help you strengthen yourself against it? And here are 5 huge ones. Communicate clearly, know your values, choose good friends, set boundaries, and be confident. Each one of these is like a superpower. When you know what you stand for and have good people around you, it's so much easier to be yourself. And being able to communicate and set those boundaries, that's how you protect yourself. Okay, let's zoom in on one of those key skills, setting boundaries. Being able to say no is a total game changer. So for question 5, can you name 4 different ways you can effectively say no to peer pressure? Okay, here are 4 awesome ways to do it. 1, just be direct. A simple no thanks works wonders. 2, use I statements. We'll talk more about those later. 3, suggest something else to do. And 4, if you need to, just walk away. The most important thing is that you have options depending on the situation. You know, this idea of handling tough social situations leads us right into our next big topic. So for round 3, we're going to talk about understanding conflict. Because just like peer pressure, disagreements happen. What really matters is how we deal with them. Okay, question 6. Sometimes when people are arguing, they just can't solve it on their own. They need someone else to step in and help. What do you call that person? That person is called a mediator. And the referee analogy is perfect. A mediator isn't there to pick a winner or a loser. Their job is just to make sure everyone plays fair and follows the rules, so the people in the argument can actually talk it out and find a solution together. So if you were going to be a mediator, how would you even start? The first few steps are absolutely crucial for setting things up for success. So, question 7. What are the first 3 steps to mediate an argument? Here they are. First, the mediator has to stay calm. If you're calm, it helps everyone else calm down too. Second, get everyone together in a quiet place. No distractions. And third, you set the rules, like no interrupting. This is so important because it makes sure everyone feels like they're going to get a fair chance to speak. All right, final round, round 4, how to be a peacemaker. We've talked about the theory, now let's talk about the skills you can use every single day to bring a little more peace to the world around you. Okay, remember how we mentioned I statements before? They're back, and they're a super powerful tool for peacemaking. So, question 8, how exactly do I statements help reduce conflict? Here's the secret sauce. I statements are all about your feelings, not blaming the other person. Think about it. If you say, "You made me sad," the other person might get defensive and argue back. But if you say, "I feel sad," well, nobody can argue with how you feel. It's your feeling. It opens up a conversation instead of starting a fight. And we've come to our last question, question 9. It all comes down to this. What are the 4 keys to peace skills? Think of these as the ultimate peacemaker toolkit. And here they are: listening, empathy, problem solving, and respect. And these are things you do, right? Listening isn't just being quiet, it's really trying to understand. Empathy is trying to walk in their shoes. Problem solving is working together. And respect, well, it's treating someone with value, even when you disagree. And that's it. You aced the quiz. We've covered so much, from what peer pressure is to how to be a real peacemaker. So here's a final thought for you. Which one of these amazing skills are you going to try and practice this week? Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me.